Welcome to Author's Ideas, a production of JR Global, an MJR production. This series is based on the recent Oxford University Press published book, Global Business in the Age of Destruction and Distraction. As a part of their Global Business series, Gaurav Rastogi joins J.R. Klein and Mahesh Joshi in examining and exploring the disruptive nature of today's world, and introduces ideas for learning how to cope with disruption and remain relevant. Here is your host, J.R. Klein.
So now we've given some time thinking about the kinds of skills that workers and leaders need as we move into the future of the workplace. Where do we get some of these skills? How do we learn them? We're going to look today at universities. Universities as cultural hubs. Previous conversations, we've thought about the current necessity of leaders, workers, organizations, individuals to continually learn, unlearn, and relearn, as it is essential for remaining relevant in a constant world of change. The inference is that educational pedagogy falls under the same edict. Even before the pandemic, the predictions of the demise of the university system has gone unfulfilled. The troublesome impact of mass open line courses, MOOC, M-O-O-C, was supposed to have this impact that was more of a moan than a blow to the industry. This, however, is not what happened. Amid the common contracting and retrenching, few institutions have closed permanently. The resilience is attributable in part to the enduring attraction of a college education and the absence of viable alternatives. Yet the survival of universities is chiefly due to their capacity to reform themselves. The need in thinking about higher education challenges is to establish a common understanding of the purpose of education. Observations find various iterations of what it understands to be the purpose. These iterations come from countries and cultures and societies around the world, and many times from within the institutions themselves. Some define their role as a focus on education that will help people find jobs. Others focus on a mix of instruction, research, and service, and others on producing certification of degrees that assure a stable income for graduates. Some institutions look at education in a more comprehensive way. They believe that the basic purpose of education is to educate people for the advancement of societies. They educate people by creating self-awareness, helping students to reflect not just on knowledge, but also on understanding. In a way, these institutions assist learners to find purpose in life. It is men and women with a life purpose that contribute to the advancement of society. This sounds like lofty ideals, but realistically translate into simple applications. For example, facilitating and enabling the basic concepts of thinking. These are simple concepts like gathering data, analyzing, hypothesizing, and formulating solutions. They guide students to an understanding of reasoning by finding the meaning in the making of decisions without promulgating a position on what the right or the wrong answer might be. The transference of culture from generation to generation is an entirely different process than transferring of technology through teaching. The latter is dramatically more prone to disruption. Maybe it has to do with legacy or tradition or commonly adopted values, but cultural transference has become the deeper part of the educational system. Transferring of culture, creating of unique, upstanding, and free-thinking citizens is more essential than it ever was before. The deculturalization of society driven by digital disruption is observable in examples from around the world. Technologies allow manipulation by people with bias, self-interest, or covert ideologies to abuse cultural systems that have been tested and verified multiple times. On the positive side, the transference of culture normatively happens through conversations. Culture is not purely information. If it was, technology would have a more dramatic effect. Culture is not only information, it is also emotion. It is also information, intrigue, rhetoric, and the nuanced composition that must be properly understood. People can be trained in technology and how to perform the protocol or the doing part, but it does not work as well in the inculcating of what it means or why it should be done. This becomes a higher valued purpose. The challenge becomes, how do the higher valued purpose of universities utilize technology to enhance their purpose? This we'll talk about next week.
Thank you for listening. If you are interested in more of the author's ideas, look for their Oxford University Press published books on global business, wherever books are sold. If you are interested in contacting the authors, they can be reached at info@jrglobal.co.